Okay, now listen to this. So the Pri Tzaddik says that 7 is the contest of Reshit versus Reshit. Good versus evil. What's the contest? We have 7 Canaanite nations, right? And against them we have, who's on the other team? It's always one person against the whole nation. The 7 Ushpizin, the 7 shepherds. The 7 ones shepherds. Shepherds is take the sheep and guide them, because the sheep don't know nothing. They don't know what they're, one paw in front of the other. What do you call it, a paw? I don't think it's a paw. One leg in front of the other. We need the 7 shepherds. Avram, he knocks out the Chitim. Yitzchak, right? Canaanim, Girgashi, you name it. We've got one lined up against everybody. And that's the battle for Eretz Yisrael. The Canaanim represent the worst of all midos, and Rav Tzadok says, and Rav Shemi Shmuel as well, the Sakar Shavar, son of Sakar Shavar, Gon, is, he says, they are the ultimate bad midos. In other words, they represent the 7 names of the Yetzer Hara. I'm not going to go into this in detail right now, okay? But it's something worth looking at. The last one of which is called Tzifoni, the snake which is completely poisonous and completely nasty. By the way, what is Tzifon? What is the world worried about today? What's the most dangerous nation to the world today? Tzifon, Korea, right? Oh. He's a Tzifoni. He's North Korea. He's Tzifoni. The guy is absolutely wants to kill people for no reason. Just massive destruction. It's reveling in it. Loves it. Loves it. The more people he can take out, the better, more happy he is. So I'll tell you that this is the deeper meaning of the Bikurim. This is the deeper meaning of Meiser, that we have to follow the master plan. Now, let's talk about the master plan in terms of what's been happening in our lives in this past year. What are the most significant thing that happened in this past year? We'll call it Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. What do you think the most important things that happened this year? What? The election. That was in November, right? What else? Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, right? It was right after Rosh Hashanah came out. And then, of course, these events here. What else has been going on? What's going on in Israel? What's going on in America? What's been going on this year? What is going on? Fake news. Everybody's saying Lashon Hara about the other one and accusing the other one of being evil. No, I'm the good one, you're the evil one. No, you're the evil. They have these Antifa guys that wear black hoods. Thank you. So you got the white hoods on one side and the black hoods on the other side. Who's better? See, that was, and who dared say anything about it? Trump said something, you guys are both pretty disgusting. Oh, how dare you? How dare you? This is good and this is evil. He's saying, I think you both got some stuff to deal with.
I think he said that they're good people on both sides.
He said they're good? No, I thought he said they're bad people on both sides. I don't know. I thought it was in the negative. Okay, fine. In other words, do an inventory. You're not allowed to run around and go crack heads open and smash businesses and say that you're a champion of good. That's not good. Nothing good about that. So let's recap. An election. Who lost the election? Hillary Clinton. What is Hillary all about? What was Hillary all about? What was her issues? What are her issues? What are her let's say vulnerabilities? What? Dishonesty, theft, outright theft, deceit. I mean, they siphoned off millions of dollars to the person. I'm laughing because they said they're indicting Sarah Netanyahu because she switched the furniture. Do you know how much furniture Hillary Clinton took from the White House to her own house in Chappaqua, whatever it's called? Everything. No one cares. How much money they gouged. They got their daughter some sort of job for $300,000 for a summer. Let me tell you, that was like the best summer of my life. I can make $300,000 in a summer. I'll take that summer and I'll have a couple of years off.
A counselor in a camp?
Yeah, for doing what? Did she write a paper or something? So the unabashed theft and the unabashed dishonesty.
And they killed those people during the
Well, that I can't go that far, but what I can say is that she has an issue with alcohol. She is a drunkard, right? And that is one of the characteristics of, how shall I say, it's a terrible midah, the drunkenness. We associate it with Russia. It's a rishus. But more than that.
nastiness to her.
What a,
Morally corrupt.
what's that?
Yeah, yeah. When she
Yeah.
lost,
Yeah, right. No. I'm not saying it's a. You can even give that a pass. Let's talk about the things that are documented. We know about the Hillary Foundation. We know about the abuse of that. She did not govern as a Secretary of State in a way that defended the citizens of the United States, which is what her job was. It was a terrible failure. She's busy. She set up that position as a way to milk money. Okay, that we know. That's factual. That's what got her in trouble, right? That's what got her in trouble. 3, she was associated. She was assessed. Yeah, she did not pay. She did not follow the rules of respect the rules of the state, which to prevent nations who are the enemies of America to get primary information. They had all the information because it was on a cell phone. 1 second. There's protocol. There's rule of law. You have to respect the rule of law. She flaunted the law.
and then she blamed
She had no interest in keeping the law. Now, the last part of it is, and this is what I think the primary part of it was the fact of her marriage and what it represented. It represented nothing of a sacred marriage on both of their sides, by the way. I'm not going to go into any details, but the misbehavior and the unethical and actually unholy behavior epitomized a complete destruction of marriage as a sacred value, and of course, her big group that she was trying to, how shall I say, her biggest supporters are who? Who did she reach out to and say, I'm going to defend them? If it was those who wish to marry, who they wish to marry, and how they wish to marry. And again, in that time period, America passed, I think it was this year or last year, passed laws making it constitutional. And was it this year since last Rosh Hashanah? Or was it before? I think so, where it became constant. It was the Kennedy's vote, the swing vote. Did that take place since last Rosh Hashanah or prior to that? I don't remember exactly. It might have been under a year before, but certainly close proximity. The idea that the United States no longer values marriage and defines marriage as marriage between a man and a woman, even though the United States was founded by very religious people. George Washington was a very religious man. You have to go into it. The founding fathers were deeply steeped in in a biblical ethics, which of course this does. So this represented the idea that we reached the bottoming out, because Hashem has a plan. It's called the 7 mitzvahs of Noach. Hence 7 fruits, hence 7 nations, hence 7. What are the 7 mitzvahs of Noach? Can we name them? The Noahides. What does Hashem want for the world? What does He want for them? Establish courts with the law. You can't flaunt the law. You have to respect the law. That's number 1. Respect the law. Number 2, no murder, no violence, right, towards the other person. Theft. And these are all capital offenses. In the world of the Ben Noach, you can actually put someone to death for violating one of these. If you had a chronic thief, you don't have to let him sit in jail for 100 years. The court can decide to eliminate them because there are fewer mitzvos, but there are higher stakes. You understand? This is like red lines. You cannot broach that. If you have a society that's not functioning, it's a lawless society, a society with theft and there are countries that have drifted into lawlessness. They really have, and that's against Hashem's will. And of course, adultery means some sanctity, at least in a marriage, okay, and so on. what's that? Not kill the animal. You have to be kind, to animals. Can't be exploitive. Okay, so that's what Hashem wants, and that's what Hashem will get, ultimately. Okay, so this I attribute to Rabbi Kessin, who you can hear tomorrow night. Rabbi Kessin said to me, he said, and we've discussed this idea, that America is not being punished. It's being purified. Purified. We have to go back to classic values. Marriage, honesty, lack of corruption, not character assassination and fighting, but honest public servants who serve not for selfish reasons, but to serve the public and do good by them, and to adhere to the principles of the Constitution.
Where do you see it happening now?
Well, look, these are events that are, again, this I don't say this is Rabbi Kessin's theory that puts together all that. I'll say, you see it from the Parsha, that's what Hashem wants. He wants facts on the ground. He wants adherence. Hashkifa mimon kachar b'shamayim. I did everything. When you say by Meiser, you say, Bi'arti HaKodesh min habayis. I gave away all that Meiser. I'm not stealing the money from the poor people. I'm not withholding money from the Levium. I'm keeping to the program. So the program of Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach has been violated. Right? Look. The whole world is under a mortal threat of murder right now. Everybody. We're all being threatened by this lunatic. And as much as Israel is under constant threat from who? Did America say anything? I mean, did the world come to Israel's defense? And or did they make a peace treaty, a nuclear agreement with Iran, and let them do what they want? The Jewish people are on their crosshairs? Azma. So Rabbi Kessin said, now you'll know, Mida Keneged Mida, what it's like to be subject to such tyranny. Okay, that's not my voice, that's his voice. But in terms of the hurricanes, every one of the four elements Hashem has utilized to bring us to tshuva. Hashem doesn't hate the United States or hate Israel. Hashem loves the United States. The Lubavitcher Rebbe said, the United States is the Medina Shel Chesed. The Lubavitcher Rebbe said that. How many entitlement, how much tzedakah they gave, how many kollel families they're supporting, right? How much Torah they support. It's an unbelievable thing, how much charity is given. But Asher Yahav Hashem, right, Yochiach. If Hashem loves you, He corrects you. If you're too far gone, Hashem pays you off in this world, go have a party, it's like the terminal patient. The doctor says, all right, nothing I can do for you, go home and hang out with your family and have a good time. I cannot help you, right? But if there's a chance that we can save the life, we say, listen, you're going to go on a strict diet, you're going to go on a discipline here, you're going to go through some treatments, they may be painful, but they're going to be curative, and you go. So that's what Hashem is doing. Hashem wants us all to align ourselves more with His will. Just by being here, we can take this chus, if we want to think about it that way, that we're contributing to Hashem's will, that the Jewish people return to their homeland and fulfill mitzvahs in Eretz Yisrael. It's an amazing thing. We're very, very privileged. It's not easy, but it's we're very, very privileged. Okay, now, how much time do we have? Okay, we're coming down to the last few minutes. So, as I mentioned to you, the Vilna Gaon, as we always go back to our Seder HaGeula in the bigger picture, said that the stage of the Geula that we are currently up to is the stage of Anshe Amana. We've already crossed the following. Have we seen the Jewish people return to Eretz Yisrael en masse? Yes. Have we seen the land of Israel be restored to its beauty and sanctified by the mitzvos of Trumos and Maasros and everything? Yes. That was another stage of Geula. Have we seen Israel become the Torah capital of the world? No. Yes.
Oh, Torah capital.
Torah capital of the world. More Torah and more Svarim are coming out of Israel, and people who want to learn, I guess you could learn in Lakewood, there are yeshivas outside, but for the most part, people who really want to grow in Torah are spending some years in Eretz Yisrael. They're dropping everything in America and they're coming here, they're dropping very comfortable lives because they want the Torah of Eretz Yisrael, to crowd themselves into dormitories and tiny apartments and live nevach like Israelis, like we live. Baruch Hashem. And to get the Torah of Eretz Yisrael. Okay, so that's happened. Has Yerushalayim undergone a rebuilding, or is it completely leveled? Like, what is that island that was leveled? Durban or something like that? Gone. There's not a building in sight. That's what the Ramban saw in Yerushalayim in 1263 when he got here. Not a building in sight. Everything was destroyed. And they said, take a building and build it up. It's yours. And that's what he did. And then now it's why we have the Ramban shul today. And the Churba was a little bit later, but those shuls were taken off the scrap heap. And similarly, Mark Twain came to Eretz Yisrael in the 1860s and said, nothing here. There's not even tumbleweeds. There's not even cactus. That was only 150 years ago, right? Or what is it? 200, coming up on 200 years ago, right? Okay, that's not a long time. Less than that. I'm talking about 150 years, less. So therefore, we've seen Yerushalayim get built. So what haven't we seen? Well, we haven't seen the war on Amalek. We still have these bad guys, really bad guys out there. We haven't been able to take care of them. We haven't built the Beis HaMikdash. That hasn't happened yet. Okay, that's coming. That's coming. But where we are right now, how many things is that, by the way? Count the list. Count the list. It's number 1, return to Eretz Yisrael. Number 2, building, restoring the land. Number 3, purifying the land by doing the mitzvos, Lus Ba'aretz. 3, building of Yerushalayim. 4, Torah, capital of the world. Now we still got Amalek, and then Beis HaMikdash, which is the complete refuah of the land. That's the last stages. Okay, I'm missing one. What I'm missing is Anshe Amana, restoring leadership with honesty and integrity. Honest leaders that have mirror and embody morality, justice, fairness, ethics, Torah values. Now, here in Eretz Yisrael, okay, I hope they don't send a shin bet after me. Okay, this is a disclaimer. Okay, there have been serious assaults on the leadership and behavior by leadership figures that call into question their integrity, honesty, fidelity, you name it. That has to go too. Eretz Yisrael and every single nation in the world is going through a purification process by which holy and people of Amen. You know what Amen is? When you get together, you say, Amen. Everybody's in agreement. I agree with you. As opposed to fighting like cats and dogs and smearing everybody and hating each other and being divisive. No. We need Anshe Amana, people of unity, strength, and truth. And that's what we're going through. It's a purification process. Now, America had the solar eclipse. A solar eclipse, according to Gemara and Sukkah, as we learned, is a very, very bad omen. It went across the entire continental United States. That's not a good thing for America. You could look at it, but I'll tell you, and this is really what Kessin says as well, it's not that Hashem wants to punish America so much as purify America. Now, purification. Mikvah, water. Hashem brought a mabul in the generation of Noah because the land was so treif and tameh from all their immorality and their theft and their relationships that were so warped. He had to dunk the whole world in the mikvah. And that's a teaching from the Zohar. And Hashem promised, okay, I'm not going to dunk the whole world in the mikvah. Doesn't mean I'm not going to dunk part of it here and there. And the areas that have been hit, okay, are very, very significant areas. Texas, because it's literally the power of America. It's wealth, it's mineral wealth, it's just complete, patriotism. It's the Spitz America. And then Los Angeles was hit. Now Florida. And it's interesting. This I'll add. It didn't go up the East Coast. It went up the West Coast, right? I think that was a great chesed from Hashem. because the Torah community, the Jewish community, as a man, is on the East Coast, all the way up the East Coast. My parents have a place in Deerfield Beach. It could have been completely wiped out, and it went the other way. There was a tremendous chesed, which I think our tefillos helped.
We also kasher kalim with fire.
That's right. Woo! Very good. Kol hakavod. I love that. It's a process of purification. Fire is also a process of purification, right? Okay. But especially this flooding. And Hashem using all the elements. Fire, water, earth, and wind. Where's fire? LA. Where's water? The tornadoes. Where's wind? Hurricane Irma, right? I mean, the flood. Right. And then the other thing was, Mexico had a massive earthquake. Mudslides. All kinds of nasty stuff. Hashem is showing the world, I'm here, I'm in charge, we're running out of time, I'm giving you a chance to align yourselves with me. Are you going to listen? And what we have to do right now, our most important job right now is to be anshe amana. People who avoid machloket, create shalom, create goodness, do a what we call a moral inventory. We have to do a little bit of a moral inventory. What do we need to clean up? And certainly in the area of Ben Adam Chavero. And with that, I'll end that the Rambam says in Hilchos Tshuva, we'll get more into that next week, okay? That if you hurt somebody, you have to ask the mechila, right? You have to ask, how many times you have to ask mechila and you can go on your way? 3. And then there's one example of Rav Chanina and Rebbe and Rav, who was his student, and he did something, the Gemara details in Yuma, that was disrespectful to his Rebbe, and he went for 13 consecutive years to ask him for mechila, and he didn't get mechila. And the Gemara says, why didn't his Rebbe give him mechila? So it says Rav Shiny, which is 2 interpretations. Rav means your Rebbe. If you're not listening to the Rebbe, then there's not going to be any plan. Nothing good is going to come out. You got to listen to your Rav. The other possibility is Rav himself. It's going about Rav. His name was Rav. He said, I just got to get the mechila. I just got to do it. So he did it more than 3 times. He did it 13 times. But the Yerushalmi says that there's one avera that there is no mechila for. That's the Yerushalmi. And what is it? Motzi Shem Ra. If you ruin a person's reputation, what's going on now in the world? Isn't it all about character assassination? This scandal, I have scandals about this scandal. It's all about Motzi Shem Ra. That's the one unforgivable sin, and the Torah sources and poskim are like, what is that all about? It's not consistent with what we know, that tshuva is mechaper and this and that. So there are answers. I'll give a more homiletic answer, which is that person is gone. That person doesn't exist anymore. When you character assassinate somebody and their reputation is shot, who's going to invest money with them? Who's going to trust them as a mentor, teacher, or Rav, or whatever it is? The person that you need to ask mechila for is no longer on the face of the earth. That's why you can't get mechila. They're not here. And I have the story about the Chafetz Chaim was riding the train to the final Aguda convention. You may have heard this story. And he was sitting next to some guy, and the guy was a little bit of a difficult guy, and he was constantly upset. The Chafetz Chaim, you're sitting too close, you're sitting this, and he didn't respect him, and he looked down on him, a little Jew with a dashik, and he was this rich, fancy guy with a fancy suit, like I'm sitting next to this guy, and he disrespected him terribly. They get to the train station, and they see that thousands of people are here to greet the Chafetz Chaim. This little man in a little dashik, he looked like a shopkeeper, which he was, and that guy sitting next to him was devastated. What did I do? I was disrespectful to the Gadol Hador. So he fell on himself and asked Chafetz Chaim, please forgive me. And you know what the Chafetz Chaim said to him? I'm happy to forgive you, but I'm not the guy you need to ask mechila from. It's the Jew who you thought I was. That's the person you need to ask mechila from. And that person doesn't really exist. But that's who you wronged. Okay. So we'll continue B'ezras Hashem next week. And What's that?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yes, in 2 weeks. I wish everybody a Shana Tov Matuka, and we should see Mamish, all the good coming out, all the good in the world is emerging. People are helping each other in these floods. The good,
Atlanta.
the good is helping. The Jewish community is rallying, and that's really the to'elet. You know, if we show the chesed, that's what America is really all about. That's what Israel is really all about. Israel was the first country to send people, right? Like, what? Isn't that crazy? I mean, look, this is America. How about Mexico? How about Canada? They're like closer by. Why don't you see? The Canadian relief team is coming. The Mexicans, they're taking a siesta. They're too tired. But what about the Germans, the richest people? Oh, our friends, the French, English. They should be sending over expeditions. Garnish, little Israel. We're the first ones here. Hello. And then people came from the 5 towns that I know who had to deal with Hurricane Sandy. So now they have experience, and they went down there and they went to Houston. Oh, it's all over the papers. So I said, you know, why is that? Because a Jew can't help himself. A Jew sees somebody in trouble, they can't help themselves. They fall over themselves to help. That's a Jew. Rachmanim, Baishanim, Gom Lechasadim. So in that schus we should have Shana Tova Umetuka. If you want to, this is off the camera.